Kid A. What is there to say about Kid A? For those who don't know, Kid A is 50 minutes long. What you may also not know is that Radiohead were originally called On a Friday, after the day that they would rehearse, before they changed their name to something you may recognize. Radiohead. Frontman Moth York said, "There was no chance of the album sounding like that. I'd completely had it with melody. I just wanted rhythm. All melodies to me were pure embarrassment." And at the time, they did not. A lengthy, over-analysed mistake. Just awful. And of course, tubby, ostentatious, self-congratulatory, look ma, I can suck my own cock, whiny old rubbish. But in particular, that it was derivative. Simply ploughing furrows dug by DJ Shadow and Brian Eno before them.
Is that you?
Rock composite. And what do they want for sounding like the Aphex Twins circa 1993? A medal? The question here is, why? And to get to the bottom of this, did you know that Kid A made extensive use of an instrument called the Ondes Marantot from France? Now, what is he like? Album closer, motion picture soundtrack departed heavily from the band's alternative rock sound. Guitarist Ed O'Brien had hoped Radiohead's fourth album would comprise short, melodic guitar songs, but York stated, "There was no chance of the album sounding like that. I'd completely had it with melody. I just wanted rhythm. All melodies to me were pure embarrassment." Instead of guitars, the track uses harps, which was inspired by artists such as Charles Mingus, Aphex Twin, and Christoph Penderecki. But it was this bold risk that would lead the critics to call the album unoriginal. Intermission. Rating my shags. Number 1. I have never actually had sex. 7 out of 10. Number 2. David Jason. I met him at a Halloween party. He was wearing a fake beard. 11 out of 10, but only because I thought he was Stephen Sondheim. Now, they do something weird at the end, which is that they stop playing. Now, I believe this is the reason why critics were so quick to call it unoriginal. Because at that point they had been hearing the same trick at the end of almost every album, and they were sick of it. By 2000, they were wanting artists to start pushing the envelope and going beyond these banal cliches. So you cannot blame them when they got to the end of Kid A and heard the same old silence. But I think it is here where Radiohead's true innovation reveals itself. Because the critics were desperate for big leaps and left turns, they completely overlooked the genuinely groundbreaking nature of Kid A. For in a time where artists were expected to innovate, Radiohead's refusal to do so is an innovation in and of itself. Since then, it is now generally accepted that Johnny Greenwood went to Oxford Polytechnic. This is a university in Oxford in England that is now called Oxford Brookes University. But he only spent 3 weeks there before the band got a record deal with EMI. But did Radiohead intend for this to happen, or was this a classic example of death of the author? Now, Tom York, the frontman for Radiohead, is notoriously reluctant to do interviews, so information is scarce. But I decided to do some investigative journalism. I sent Tom York from Radiohead an email. I told him that I was a master's student at Oxford Brookes University, the same one that Johnny Greenwood went to, and I needed information for my dissertation. Later that day, I concluded that The King of Limbs is their shortest album because it is 38 minutes long. Number 3, Eric. We did it in the bathrooms at Plush. I give him a yes. I've been Jack Stylianou. Thanks for listening.